how
Oh,
does one go about getting published? Xavier asks. Let me see if I can pop it up here.
okay. I mean, by publish, you mean like your music publishing for songwriting?
He said yes, so I think he means the
Okay.
getting into movies and stuff.
All right. So the way that there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go about getting your music into TV, film, and commercials and video games. First, obviously, it depends on the medium that you want to write for. Getting your music into video games is going to be very different than getting your music into movies, but it all kind of starts with the music supervisor. So if you when you're working towards trying to get your music placed in these things, eventually what you're going to need to do is connect with a music supervisor that's actually in control of placing the music. Now you can, some people recommend cold calling these people, which you can totally do. And by doing that, what you would actually do would be to write a brief email. Just says, hey, really like your work. I've been following it for a while. I feel that my music is good for such and such that you represent. My music sounds like this, and this, and here is a link with the samples. And then what you would do is you provide a link where they can download your music. And we also kind of recommend maybe putting together like an online EPK for licensing, which basically involves you just having a link that leads to files that people can stream the music, and that describes what the music is about and where they can contact you should they wish to download your music. So that's one technique that you can use. The other technique that you can use is, and which might be a little bit easier, not easier, but like it's, going the route of getting your, contacting music supervisors can be, kind of an ongoing difficult process because you're constantly looking for contact information and ways to connect with them. What you can try to do is contact and become a member of a licensing or publishing company. Now that's like kind of like signing like a record deal. So that can also be difficult, not impossible. But when you sign one of those deals, they'll do all the pitching and connect you with trying to get your music placed, and they'll take a fee for doing that. And then what you'll be required to do is sign over the rights so that they're able to do that on a continual basis for you. If you're just starting out, what things that are a lot easier to do, that's a little bit more manageable, is what they call music libraries. And what music libraries are is you can approach them and say, "Hey, I have all this great music. I want to place them. They're all the rights are available," and then you upload your music to these music library sites, and it's almost like kind of like an iTunes shop and stop. So like if someone is a music supervisor and they're looking for music for their next film or wedding videos or anything, what they'll do is they'll kind of scroll through this entire database and they'll be like, oh, this song's perfect and I want to use it. And then they'll, pay a licensing fee, they'll get your song and it'll get placed. So that's another technique that you can use to kind of go about that if you don't have a lot of time to invest in getting your music placed in TVs and commercials. But networking is another great way to go about doing it. So like
Yeah.
in addition, sorry, TJ, you want?
No, just Xavier says, yeah, those people are hard to get a hold of. I think he's talking about the music supervisors, and you are very right. The reason we recommend that is just because it's really the only proactive thing you can do yourself. As Greg was saying, you can approach a publishing house or a music bank, that can, but it's kind of like, you kind of set it and forget it, and then it's up to them to place your music or someone to find your music. I mean, there's techniques to set your search results to be the best ones, the most successful ones, but you're kind of leaving it in someone else's hands. So that's why we recommend kind of going direct. I mean, the other option is to just make a song that's so iconic that it needs to be used, in that thing, or something so specific that you might find it might just be something that can't be ignored. Someone's like, I need this for my movie or something like that.
Yeah,
So there's ways to write around it too.
If you want my honest opinion, like that's so basically what I gave you was the carbon copy of what like everyone's going to tell you in the industry about how to go about doing it. If I'm going to give you the realistic standpoint of how to actually go about doing this, what I would do if I was in your position, if you're really serious, but I want to do this as my profession, I would start off by not shooting for trying to get it in a major TV show or anything along those lines, because you're in competition with major artists, publishing companies, music supervisors that are being represented by licensing companies, professional songwriters, composers. And not that it's not impossible to do that, but there's a lot of competition to get into that stuff. So what I would do is I would look towards your local community and see if there are, filmmakers from schools that are looking for music. I would look for businesses that might be, doing commercials that you're maybe a fan of or that you maybe frequent on a regular basis, and offer to donate a song to whatever it is they're doing, or talk to a filmmaker that's running a project that is off that needs music and you're willing to donate. Or if you were into video games, approach like a indie publishing that's maybe doing a Kickstarter and say, hey, I have music that I would love to compose for your thing, and offer to work for free. Now that sounds terrible, and we obviously doing these broadcasts are always telling you make money, but if you're trying to get your foot in the door and you don't really have a resume for these kind of things, that's how you do it. You offer your services for free. Like in the cases for video games, we own a game soundtrack label, so we have a lot of experience with working with composers and whatnot. And what a lot of starting composers will do is that they'll go up to an app and say, "Hey, I'm going to score your thing for free. I want to retain the soundtrack rights, and I want to get this on my resume." And then they do it, and then you do a few of those, and you start making contacts in that area. And if your music that you create is good, the next app that they do or the next game that they do, they might ask you to do it more. And at that point in time, you can say, "Okay, great, but I want to earn some money for doing that." And that's how I would really kind of work towards getting started. Like you don't want to try to go after the big boys. You want to really kind of aim at that people that are kind of on your level. And those are people that are just starting out in the industry that you want to be on, that you can actually walk up to and have a conversation with, because that's how things most of the time in this industry gets done, by just walking up and saying, "Hey, I'm a fan. I'm trying to do this. I can send you some samples of my work, and I'm willing to do this, for gratis because I'm working my way into doing this." Most people take a shot because, if they don't have the budgets for it, it could be a godsend that you are actually, coming in and offering to take care of something that, isn't really available. So that's how I actually recommend going about doing it, even though I kind of gave you the canned,
and this is also kind of the from the perspective of an artist who has music and then just kind of wants to get a place. But if you're really trying to become like a successful in publishing, you just need to write constantly. You need to write for every mood. You need to, you just need to have hundreds of songs. You need so much music, to kind of maintain a regular career. And then I've also seen people find success by setting up their own website and licensing their music directly to, any kind of, website or, company that finds them. You just get some good SEO and, you could start just licensing your music directly to people. So that's also an avenue. But publishing is tough. If you're not focusing on it 100% of the time, it isn't the easiest thing to get done. Then unless you have another point, Greg, Xavier had another question.
Yeah.
He asks,
thanks for watching. If you need help planning out your music career, schedule a call to speak with us today. Or you can enroll in our free program called Developing Your Business Plan. The link for both can be found in the description below. And please don't forget to subscribe. Your support really matters and helps us a lot, and we appreciate it. Have a great day.